Scramble, scramble, scramble! Incoming fighters!
Down American 95, 10 miles out on the ILS. American 95, Kennedy Tower, falling over 319 ahead, 1050.
Hello everybody, I'm DerTebbers. Welcome aboard, welcome to Barkstow Heath Air Base in the United Kingdom, and aboard our Gloster Meteor. This is a Mark 9 model. The link that you have in the description will take you to a page that has a whole list of a whole bunch of planes that this particular gentleman has done. And he has a whole bunch of Gloster Meteors, or Meteors, if you want to call them Meteors. And I just picked this one out at random because I sort of felt like it. If you prefer a Mark III, you can get a Mark III. If you want a Mark 8, you can get a Mark 8. He's got a huge number of aircraft, so it's pretty awesome sight. Let's go ahead and start this guy up. And close the cockpit. There we go. All right. Now, will it start? Hold on. Are we starting? Yes, I have an engine start. I turn on avionics, turn on my beacon. Woo, there goes the engine. All right, I think we got all of our stuff on. Here we go. Second engine coming online. Excellent. All right. While it's starting up, the Gloster Meteor, first British jet fighter and the Allies' only operational jet aircraft during the Second World War. Some people think of the Bell Aero Comet. Was not operational. Ooh, look at that smoke coming out of that engine. Yeah, classical. Classical? Classic. That's good. Beautiful look to this aircraft. Beautiful modeling done as well. Do we have any flaps by chance? Wouldn't expect to have much. Oh yeah, we do. We have a little bit. Probably double as dive brakes, honestly. Alright. I think our engines are running. Let's check the cockpit. Engines are running. They are stabilized. Excellent. Everybody ready? Alright. I'm going to pop the brakes. I'm going to turn the volume up. And we're going to power up our two Rolls-Royce Derwet 8 turbojets. 3,600 pounds of thrust each. And just like that, we're in the air. Beautiful looking aircraft. Beautiful lines to it. Alright, let's get inside our plane for a minute. Make sure that we don't kill ourselves. Let's throttle her back a little bit. Alright, we should be good. Beautiful smoke coming out of it as well. I love that. When you got the smoke coming out the tail like that, it's beautiful. So let's see if we can actually get the whole aircraft in the picture. Hey, there we can. Alright, let me turn her down a little bit more. Turbo whine, you know? Now, this aircraft was heavily reliant on the turbojet engines pioneered by Sir Frank Whittle and his company Powerjets Limited. Development of the aircraft itself began in 1940. However, work on those engines had been underway since 1936. People think that jet aircraft were a recent thing, that they happened during the war. No, the development started well before then. It just got accelerated by the war. Meteor first flew in 1943 and commenced operations on 27 July 1944 with the number 616 Squadron of the RAF. Nicknamed the Meat Box, this was not a sophisticated aircraft in its aerodynamics, but it proved to be a successful combat fighter. Sometimes you don't have the aerodynamics, but you got the power pedigree. I mean, look at the A-10 Thunderbolt. It doesn't have any sort of aerodynamics. It's a flying sled. But people love that plane. In the 1950s, the Meteor became increasingly obsolete as more nations introduced jet fighters. Many of these newcomers had adopted the swept wings instead of the conventional straight wings of the Meteor. Meteor borrowed those wings, of course, from piston-powered aircraft, because that was what was necessary for piston-powered aircraft. Now, if you know the ME-262, which was a contemporary to the Meteor, it had swept wings, and that actually gave it a little bit better performance, but it had its own set of problems. Now, this aircraft was replaced by newer aircraft such as the Hawker Hunter and the Gloster Javelin. As of 2013, two Meteors, tail numbers WL419 and WA638 are in active service with the Martin Baker Company as ejector seat test beds. 2 further aircraft that I could not find tail numbers on were active in the UK and another one in Australia. Now, despite the revolutionary turbojet propulsion of this aircraft, it was a relatively orthodox design and did not take advantage of the aerodynamic features utilized on other jet fighters, such as the swept wings we talked about earlier. However, it did exhibit some problematic flying characteristics typical of all the early jet aircraft. It suffered from stability problems at high transonic speeds. Remember, we hadn't broken the sound barrier on purpose yet, so transonic speeds were an unknown phenomenon. And for a straight-wing aircraft, transonic speeds are particularly troublesome as the air builds up on those wings. Large trim changes were also a problem for this aircraft. High stick forces and self-sustained yaw instability, also called snaking. The aircraft starts to snake around. That was caused by airflow over the thick tail section. Now, this is a Mark 9, so it has improvements to its tail section, but the original had a thick tail section, and as the airflow split around that, it would actually start to cause the aircraft to snake around in the air, like a tank slapper. If you ever play or drive a car and you have a tank slapper, you know what I mean. If you haven't, well, it's probably best that you don't bother to try one. The Meteor engines were considerably more practical than those of the German Me-262. That's where the Meteor came into power. It doesn't have the swept wings, but those engines, they have a longer service life and they were more efficient. Unlike the 262 as well, the engines were embedded into the wings between the front and rear spars instead of slung under. You can see there's actually a bit of wing going through there. Now, you might make a argument that the slung engines of the 262 were better for service, and I would say potentially you're correct. With the slung engines, you could have a new engine sitting ready to go, pop the bolts, remove the slung engine, pop the new bolts on. Whereas this one, you're going to have to actually open up the nacelles, or nauticals, if you want to call them that, but they're nacelles, and pull the engine out. But if you have a highly efficient engine, and an engine that doesn't break down every few hours, then it really doesn't matter, and that's where the Meteor had. Now, during development, skeptical elements of the Air Ministry, shocking, skeptical elements, expected the mature piston power aircraft types to exceed the capability of the Meteor in all areas except that of speed. Thus, the performance of the early Meteors were considered favorable for the interceptor mission, because they could outdive aircraft, they could outclimb aircraft. But in-service trials of the Meteor F.3 and the Hawker Tempest 5 showed that the performance of the Meteor bettered the Tempest in almost all respects, and barring some of the maneuverability issues, this aircraft could be an amazing all-round fighter. Now, later versions are going to saw massive changes to from the original F1 variant. Now, much attention was given to the aircraft's top speed. We want speed, speed, speed. They improved the airframe's aerodynamic qualities, incorporated the latest engine developments, and increased the strength of the airframe. The F8, which emerged in the late 1940s, was considered to have substantially improved performance over prior variants. It was reportedly the most powerful single-seat aircraft flying in 1947, capable of ascending to 40,000 feet within 5 minutes. Now that, today, we're like, because you can take an F-15 or a Eurofighter Typhoon, and those things can punch to 40,000 feet in very little time. But think about it. 1947, it's going up against Tempests, Spitfires, P-51 Mustangs, those kind of aircraft. 40,000 feet in 5 minutes? Phenomenal. Scramble those aircraft to intercept the bomber. Well, they're going to get up there well before any piston aircraft get up there. Now, the maximum speed of the F1 model. Now, remember, I'm flying an F9 model, so my maximum speed would be a little bit different, but maximum speed of the F1 is 600 miles an hour. That is 965 kilometers an hour at 10,000 feet. Put it another way, Mach 0.82. It's probably the best way to put it. You know, just give it all in reference to the speed of sound. The range, 600 miles. That's 965 kilometers. The armament was 4 20mm British Hispano Mark V cannons. Where is that runway? Over there. Rockets. There were provisions for up to 16 60-pound 3-inch rockets. There are 8 5-inch HVAR rockets under the outer wings, and it could carry 2 1,000-pound bombs. Whoopsie. Now, isn't that beautiful to see that smoke contrails coming off that plane? Woo, yeah. All right, let's see if we can land. Oh, good Lord. All right, yeah, let's see if we can land it. Woo. All right, there are brakes right there. Very nice. There are those. Whoa. Get back in the plane, you gibbon. We're going to make this landing, I swear it. Or we're going to die trying, which happens quite often on this series. Oh, yeah, look at that. I do love jet fighters because you can just whip them around. We're getting a little bit of ground effect. There we go. No thrust reversing, no parachutes, but the aircraft isn't so fast that it would need that equipment. Spoilers are back in. And stopped. Nice. Put the parking brake on. Parking brake is on. All right. Very nice looking aircraft. I like it a lot. Let's check out our number keys. Let's get inside the aircraft. Shift 1. Ooh, heads up display. That could be helpful. I mean, it wouldn't be realistic, but helpful. Shift 2. There's our comm stack. Shift 3. GPS. Very nice. Shift 4. Oh, that's it. So it's a completely real, it's a fully virtual cockpit. So you better know where all your switches and gauges are. That's, you better know. Can you read them if you get close enough? Let's find out. Yes, you can. Look at that. You can be like, oh, I want my nav lights on. Let's turn on our panel as well. Let's assume that, oh, look, we've closed our oxygen supply. Can I open it? Oh, that would be amazing if that worked, even though it functionally doesn't work. That would be amazing. So do we have more lights? Yes, we do. Now we have our nav lights. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Nice looking aircraft. Again, the link takes you to the guy's page. Shh, quiet plane. The link takes you to the gentleman's page that made this plane. There is a whole bunch of Gloster Meteors there. I have the Mark 9. You can pick up whatever model you particularly prefer. And you can look at the other aircraft he has. Believe me, we're going to be doing several of the aircraft on his page because I really, really believe, I mean, look at this aircraft. It's beautiful. We're going to do more of this gentleman's aircraft. Until then, well, not then, but until next week or whatever. I've been DerTebbers. This has been your Flight Simulator Explained Spotlight, the Gloster Meteor. Until next time, don't land like I do, because my goodness, we almost died.
Level 1283, Kennedy Tower. Greetings. Falling heavy, Boeing 767, touching down. Caution wake turbulence from 05012, number 24 right to the left.
Going in 48, that's 1283, copy all.
8 Lima Bravo, traffic just north of the airport, opposite direction along the track routing. A helicopter not under defeat, yes, you in sight.